been a great leader for the Hokies in the circle. They're going to need her to go to her go-to rise ball pitch. We saw her kind of stray away from that in the last series against Georgia Tech. So I would think that she needs to really just settle down and go with what she knows in this series against Notre Dame.
Pitcher that has racked up a ton of strikeouts. That is going to be tough today against a Notre Dame team that rarely strikes out. Talk about Abby Sweet being tough. And the next batter in the lineup, Emma Clark, she's hitting over 400 too.
Yeah, the entire top of the lineup for the Fighting Irish is going to be a key area that Rochard and the Hokies defense really need to zone in on, make sure that they are very clean and sharp through the top half of this lineup.
Well, the junior from California is on deck, but the senior from Newhall, California, now in the batter's box to start game one of this doubleheader. Rochard ready, and the first pitch is called a strike. Well, Abby Sweet, as we have said, hitting very close to 500 on the year. And how about this, Shelby? 5 strikeouts in 107 at-bats.
Yeah, she's going to be an aggressive hitter, swinging early in the count, which is exactly what I would recommend as a strategy against Rochard. You do not want to get late in the count against her.
Popped up. We talked about that no-hitter very briefly with Keely Rochard, and the last time that we saw her in the circle for Virginia Tech, not only picking up a no-hitter, but it wasn't the same sort of day we see out of Rochard, where she wasn't really fanning a ton of players. It just Georgia Tech was not able to barrel up on her, and she only had 3 strikeouts. In the air, down the line, Brown giving chase. Runs out of room. So good battle already for Abby Sweet. Kelsey Brown running into the wall for that one. Heck of an effort. Notre Dame 22-12, 13-10 overall in the conference. Hokies sporting a 28-7 overall record up against the Anna Gumps team for the first time since 2018. This pitch outside. So Sweet showing a little bit of patience there, even though Coach Gump had noted this isn't a player with a whole lot of patience in the box. Certainly has seemed to work out for her up to this point this year. Fouls it back. Already a battle to start out this ball game.
I've noticed with Rochard the last few series, she's, the beginning of the season, all we were talking about, rise ball, rise ball. We still continue to talk about her best pitch being that rise ball, but she's worked a lot the last several series of mixing her other pitches, doing a great job working the corners. We've seen a couple curveballs out of her so far, and really working on her accuracy and positioning the ball with her other pitches outside of that rise ball.
Lifted to left. Brown makes the catch at the track. So a good plate appearance there for Abby Sweet, and there's one away here in the top of the first inning. Well, the big player to note in the infield, Cameron Fagan back at shortstop for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, we'll see her in the lineup as well in the 2 spot. We haven't seen Cam Fagan in the last several weeks, I believe, due to a lower leg injury. She is back at her comfortable position at shortstop.
That also moves Kelsey Bennett back to third. And Clark pokes that one into the outfield for a base knock. So I knew that this game was going to be just like this, with Emma Clark setting the table already. Said that she can hit the ball soft in the infield or hard to the outfield. I think this is a little bit of a mix of both.
It's an aggressive approach to go for that first pitch, as well as to look for something that's a normal height, not up in the zone, trying to avoid those pitches, get something early that's a little bit flatter.
Oh, here is the best, or the hottest hitter in the lineup right now for Notre Dame, and Katie Marino, coming off of her best weekend of the season. 2 home runs, 5 for 11 with 6 RBIs and 6 runs scored against Virginia, which Notre Dame got the sweep at home. Quickly 0-2. So 2 of those 5 home runs coming against the Cavaliers. Runner goes into the outfield. Clark on to third. That's what Coach Gump said she wanted to do against Virginia Tech. Said that not a lot of teams have really tested the catchers of the Hokies, and they certainly did with Lauder there, and now a runner on the corner.
Yeah, I was thinking that we were going to see a stolen base there from Emma Clark. Coach Gump has told us that the top 3 hitters in her lineup really have the green light to go on their own, do not need the signal from her. And you see that aggressive base running just pops right up from second base and easily take third.
Should be enough to score a run. Brown makes another catch. 1-0 Notre Dame.
And you see right there why it's so important to be aggressive and take that stolen base and really capitalize on the error there on the stolen base play to go all the way over to third. That same fly ball to the outfield, even deep on that warning track, might not have been able to even tag up and get to third.
So now the Fighting Irish taking an early lead here for the freshman Karina Gaskins. And Gump looking on from third base, certainly happy about how aggressive they were being there. Pitch low, 1 ball and no strikes.
That will be a test for Virginia Tech's defense and pitchers in the circle, namely Keely Rochard right now, on how they're going to respond by having a little bit of pushback offensively from Notre Dame that they haven't had in the last several series.
How about Gaskin's stance? Has that front leg, picks it up, and then when the pitch comes in, brings it right back down to the dirt, and certainly it's working out for her in her first year in collegiate softball, 338. Rochard, see if she's able to fight with Gaskins here for her first strikeout of the ball game, or is Gaskins going to keep this top of the first going? Rochard ready with the 1-2. Evens it up. So 5 innings of mowing through the Georgia Tech lineup. Last time out already giving up a run to a talented top of the lineup for Notre Dame.
You can tell Rochard has really given Notre Dame's hitters the respect that they deserve and working all around the zone so far off the plate on those inside pitches.
First strikeout for Rochard. We're going to the bottom of the first. Hokies trail to the Fighting Irish. It's 1-0 Notre Dame. Holloway gets the start in the circle for Notre Dame, coming in with a 10-2 record. Last time out against Virginia Tech, remember, that was all the way back in 2018. Got the save against the Hokies where Notre Dame was able to win that series, but got to look out for that rise, drop, and change from the senior today.
See that 2.62 ERA. That's definitely one of the lower ERAs that Virginia Tech hitters have faced.
So Cameron Fagan returning to the lineup from injury. There you see Kelsey Bennett in the dugout now with over the decade mark in home runs. 10 home runs, approaching a 300 average after the Hokies hit 5 home runs against Georgia Tech last week to get the run roll victory. So here's Kelsey Brown. Transfer from JMU that has just had an incredible knack of getting on base. Makes this matchup all the more interesting with 2 of the best leadoff hitters in the entire league, playing in 4 games against each other. Oh, he misses the second pitch.
Similar to Emma Clark on Notre Dame's side, Kelsey Brown can mix all of her different tools. So you see Notre Dame's defense right now playing her a pretty average distance, the infield, as far as her slap, but she is able to kind of bloop that over the infield and drop into the outfield.
That was foul there. You got to believe that Kelsey Brown, as well as Abby Sweeten, really Emma Clark for that matter, just at the top of the lineup, obviously being very dangerous, but near the end of the season here, have to be in the contention for ACC Player of the Year.
Absolutely. You're over 400. I think that you definitely should be in that conversation.
Slaps it down. Another 4-game set between ACC teams. Notre Dame with only a couple of ACC series losses this year to Duke and Florida State. Hokies have not lost a single conference series as of yet. Popped up. Into the crowd. Well, the gentleman pretty bundled up. Just going to get the ball and can't keep it, have to give it back. It's a good time to tell you it's pretty cold out here in the New River Valley, unfortunately. You would think with May approaching, wouldn't have snow in the last week, but hey, here we are. One away. Good play by Marino to retire Kelsey Brown.
Now batting for the Hokies, the shortstop.
Take a look at the defense, and it was interesting to talk with Deanna Gump before this. That left side of the infield's really a revolving door for Notre Dame. Chelsea Purcell has done a heck of a job in the middle of the infield for Notre Dame, but they're going to switch out the shortstop and the third base position a ton. Likely see Marquez at shortstop, possibly in game 2, and then Biggio at third. So here's Cameron Fagan, freshman from Florida, returning to the lineup today in an important series for the Hokies. Now with, like we had said, Fagan back in the lineup obviously helps with a pretty consistent bat in just her freshman season in collegiate play, but also getting everybody back to where they're the most comfortable in the infield. Framed up on the corner.
And it will be a test here for Cameron Fagan being out of play for so long. You know, she's, I'm sure, worked her way back into practice to prepare for today's start, but this is the first in-game live hitting that she has had in several weeks.
Chopped and into the outfield. So Fagan back in the lineup and gets a base hit.
Now batting number 11, the designated player.
This is great placement for Fagan, just right up the middle, just out of reach there. At Purcell at shortstop.
Well, we talked about Marino having a great series at the plate for Notre Dame. Kana Davis sure had a great one at the plate against Georgia Tech. A couple of home runs that were well out of here, Shelby. Let's just say that. One of them hit a car on Beamer Way, and another one was blasted into the parking lot behind center field.
Yeah, that distance was dangerous, I think is the word I'd use to describe to the people passing by on the sidewalk of Beamer Way. But yeah, as you said as well, parking lot and cars passing by as well.
I believe the gentleman's name was Abraham, who tweeted about it, not my car getting hit. Davison didn't even count it 1-1. And I have to believe, being slightly prophetic here, whether it's Kana Davis to do it again, but there's a lot of commotion out on Beamer Way in left field. It's likely going to happen again with these two great offensive teams facing off. Sliced it foul.
Especially Holloway throwing up in the zone, being one of her go-to pitches. That's a perfect place for Kana Davis to knock one out there.
A couple of fans already perched out in left field. Wow, what a pitch by Holloway. Buckled up Kana Davis, first strikeout for the senior in the circle.
Now batting number 2, the first baseman, Jamie Bailey.
That's great placement and speed on this ball. I mean, you see it just completely fall off right there at the end, as well as having just a complete speed change from the previous pitch.
So now here's Jamie Bailey, the sophomore from Hurricane, West Virginia. Quickly down in the count.
I was talking about the strategy for Notre Dame hitters to face against Rochard of being aggressive, swinging early in the count. I would say the same thing for Virginia Tech versus Holloway as well. Try to avoid seeing that drop change, that changeup that we just saw against Kana Davis. Lay off of that pitch there, just so you see Bailey do that. Look for something a little faster, a little bit more on the plate.
Well, it's going to be up to Virginia Tech to make adjustments. And now we saw them lose in that first game against Georgia Tech, a team with the RPI well into the 100s, where the Hokies was in the top 10 at the time, and Virginia Tech froze up offensively. It's a foul ball. And then by the end of the series, so that first game on a Friday, by the end of the series, Hokies hit 5 home runs. There's Pete DeMoore, now playing against Notre Dame for the first time in his tenure as the head coach of Virginia Tech. He's been here since 2019.
Yeah, Virginia Tech has struggled in every ACC series to be dropping one. They end up still coming through with the series win. But we have seen at least one of those games get away from them.
Bailey goes down looking. What an inning for Holloway. No runs, 1 hit, and a runner left on. On to the second, it's 1-0 Notre Dame here in Blacksburg.
No runs, 1 hit.
Hump has put together a legendary career at Notre Dame. 20th season in South Bend, Indiana. They have never not gone to the NCAA regionals under her tenure. 12 seasons with 40 or more wins.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly there, Bailey. I mean, legendary to have never had a losing season as a head coach. Just very impressive.
This band that went into the Big East and now nearly a decade in the ACC for Notre Dame. Success in both conferences. Now a very important season to try to, or a very important series to try to salvage some sort of NCAA regionals bid for Notre Dame. Right now, very close. Leah Hanks leading off the second inning. It's 1-0 Notre Dame, scoring on a sacrifice fly back in the first inning. Hanks, the sophomore from Leesburg, Florida. Cut and a miss. First ever look for Leah Hanks against Virginia Tech pitching, and obviously Keely Rochard. Another solid weekend against Virginia, went 5 of 13. In the air to left. Well, Brown's been busy so far in this game. 1 away.
Now batting the first baseman, Sarah Kent.
So the Hokies down 1-0. Notre Dame leading in this one. And like we said, a very important series. And look at the RPI. Virginia Tech, they seem like they're in 15 RBI. But Notre Dame, or excuse me, RPI, a 32 RPI, trying to build that resume to make a regional.
Yeah, Notre Dame, Clemson there, I feel like will be kind of on the line to see how they finish out this last part of regular season and maybe more importantly, their performance in the ACC tournament.
Sarah Gens takes a big cut and a miss. So here's the definition of ratings percentage index. Strength of schedule, obviously a big part of it, but when you beat a team, you want them to win the rest of the season. And certainly for the Hokies, that is what's happened when they have beaten Clemson and Florida State in 2 games out of 3.
As a player and coach, you really take that RPI really seriously. You know, I feel like is a great representation of how good your entire team is across the entire season, you know, as well as taking into account your ranking that we see. But the RPI, that's what it's all about near the postseason.
1 ball and 2 strikes. I think that Notre Dame didn't get a fair chance to test themselves because unfortunately that series against Clemson, a team that's in the top 3 of the ACC, was canceled due to COVID protocols. So that's 4 games and the Fighting Irish had a chance. Well, that's pulled foul, stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, they play that series. That could shake up the ACC standings and the seeding for the tournament. I mean, just shows yet again in this season how something so out of our control like COVID can really mess with the season a little bit.
balls, 2 strikes, and especially how Notre Dame has played at home. That's 4 games where the Clemson Tigers were going to be in South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame has not lost on Notre Dame's campus this year. Fighting Irish continuing to blast the ball close to in play. Gens battling here, 2-ball, 2-strike count.
I don't think it would surprise me to see a lot of foul balls throughout this whole series when you combine the aggressiveness of Notre Dame hitters with Rochard clearly working around the strike zone area, not giving anything too much on the plate.
Ripped and dropping in front of Troll. Second single of the ball game for Notre Dame. And now a runner is on with 1 out.
Now batting the pitcher, Alexis Holloway.
So now we see the pitcher with a bat in her hand after, see this from Gens here, good piece of hitting, Shelby.
Yeah, I left that a little bit too much on the plate right when I'm complimenting her about how she's working around the zone. Then, of course, leaves one a little bit too clean there.
So Alexis Holloway, Notre Dame, a team that opts to put the bat in the pitcher's hands. So far, Holloway close to 260 on the year, has done a good job of producing at the plate.
It's always impressive to me to see a pitcher be able to hit in her own spot in the lineup, something you don't see very often anymore, that our pitchers are so focused on what they need to do in the circle that it is hard to have the capacity to also work on your swing and your hitting game.
In the air, and foul. We've seen Notre Dame pretty early on a few of these high pitches so far in this ball game. Holloway quickly down, no balls and 2 strikes. Rochard also, not necessarily Rochard, but the entire Hokies infield has to think about Gens at first. What is she going to do here? Notre checks her down on the pitch outside. Notre Dame trying to be aggressive and test Lauder. Once again early. Looks like we're going to see some long at-bats today. This isn't going to be a lineup that Rochard can move through like we saw with maybe a Georgia Tech, maybe a Pittsburgh, where you can have these short at-bats and 3 or 4 pitches. And already 30 in this game.
Well, that is definitely going to test Rochard's conditioning a little bit. I mean, she takes her training very seriously, her time in the bullpen during practice, as well as the work she puts in the weight room. But once she's on the field, she has been very efficient so far this season. So this whole series, we'll see how long she can hold up.
Swing and a miss. So the long battle ends for Rochard, her second strikeout. Now there are 2 away here at the top of the second inning.
There you see her rise ball. It just jumps right up out of the zone. Definitely something that Notre Dame hitters are going to take note of, share that when they go back to the dugout. It's a tough pitch to lay off of, and of course after you swing, then you see how high out of the zone it is, but once that ball is approaching you, it looks like a perfect pitch by the time you're swinging.
Chelsea Purcell takes one on the inside corner. Grad student from La Habra, California, which is such a recruiting target for Deanna Gump from her home state. Purcell into left center field, hits off of the wall. Brown to play it in. And it's a double for Purcell.
This ball's absolutely smacked by Purcell out to the outfield, bounces off the wall. I mean, a very well-played ball by Kelsey Brown in left field. She clearly sees that this is going to be bouncing off the wall. She's ready to play it. Gets the ball in quickly, so she's able to hold up the runner at 3. It's a great play defensively.
So here's Cassidy Grimm with 2 runners in scoring position. Grimm looking for her first hit of the season. Waves through that one. It almost seemed like it was more beneficial to Virginia Tech that ball actually hit off of the wall, because if that hops about 2 feet in front of it, it ricochets away and a run's going to come in to score to make it 2-0.
Right, or if Brown goes for it, trying to catch it, you know, before it hits the wall. I think that's a clear run for Notre Dame.
Does have 1 RBI on the season. In this scenario, she's going to need to get a hit to get that RBI. Good pitch by Rochard to get back into the zone. So a ball and 2 strikes. Gens and Purcell knocking on the doors at third and second. And Rochard gets out of the jam. Couple of runners left in scoring position off of a couple of hits. It's still 1-0 after 1.5 here in Blacksburg.
For Notre Dame in the top of the second. No runs, 2 hits, no runs.
Good day to eat some Chipotle in the outfield. Here's Notre Dame leads in this one, bottom of the second, 1-0 in game 1 of this doubleheader, and 4 games set here in Blacksburg. Pete Demore in his 3rd season at Virginia Tech. He's had a lot of success so far, Shelby.
Yeah, one of the best turnarounds in NCAA history for the Virginia Tech program, and really only about 2 seasons is how I like to think of it, with the shortened 2020 season.
The Hokies did a tremendous job in his first year. It was almost crazy to think about the eclipse of how Virginia Tech got so much better at the plate in his first year in 2019. Virginia Tech won the ACC regular season, and a big part of that success from this athlete right here, and Kelsey Bennett. Watches a first pitch called strike, though.
It's great to see, though, that first year that a coach comes in and has that much success. You love to see that, but then you do take a step back and say, well, is that just, you know, players are excited for a fresh start, there's some new blood in there, you know, but to see now 2-3 seasons in that sustaining the same level of success, you know that it's not a fluke, I guess.
Yeah, certainly, especially with people like this on the team, Kelsey Bennett. And it's very odd to think, oh, maybe she's having an off year. She's still hitting .296
right,
and has 10 home runs on the year with 28 RBIs. A couple of them against Georgia Tech last week. Buckled up on that pitch, could be trouble, and it's dropped off the glove of Emma Clark. That should be an E9, and it is, so Bennett will lead it off here, getting on base.
It seemed like they had some good communication there with right fielder Emma Clark and Katie Marino at second. Seemed like Clark clearly called her off, but maybe overran it just slightly.
Bennett got a piece of that one, but we did see Kana Davis swing through that last exact same pitch. Where Hokies don't seem like they know just what to do yet early in the game against that pitch that Holloway's been throwing.
Yeah, I think for both sides it will be interesting to see how the second time through the lineup, what adjustments are being made.
Pinch runner in for the Hokies. And Luco is going to run for Kelsey Bennett. Maybe adding a little bit more speed to the base paths as the Hokies eye to tie this one up. The player that's seeing the ball well lately, Addie Green for Virginia Tech. Freshman from Suffolk, Virginia. That's another called strike. It's not only Virginia Tech having some sustained success against ACC opponents and with Pete Demore in now his 3rd season, a lot of it being done by the youth. Addie Green certainly a part of that as a freshman in the infield. Three home runs. Last one came in the 12-0 romp of Georgia Tech.
I'm talking about the youth for Virginia Tech in the infield, freshmen at the middles, shortstop and second, and just sophomores on the corners with Jamie Bailey and Kelsey Bennett. So a lot of room to grow in the next few years.
So now 1-2. Yeah, definitely encouraging for Virginia Tech fans to look on this program. Foul ball.
And probably the biggest question that Hokie fans are wondering at the end of this season is, will Keely Rochard return, take her COVID season, or kind of shift that power, transfer that power to the rest of her pitching staff that we've seen 2 freshmen follow her as the second and third go-to pitchers this season.
Waves through the 1-2. Third strikeout for Holloway, and Luco stays over at first base. Well, series history definitely favors Notre Dame. Remember, this is the first time that Pete DeMoore's Virginia Tech program has taken on Notre Dame. But how about this? Fighting Irish lead the series 25-7. 14 of the last 15 meetings. Hokies haven't won a series against the Fighting Irish since 2014. In the air to right, going back on Clark. And Lauder retired in 1 pitch.
Now batting number 90, the right fielder.
So trying to keep this going in the bottom of the second potentially for Virginia Tech with Emma Ritter, but Holloway has looked strong so far for Notre Dame. Freshman from Perryville, Maryland. Lays off that one. Like Addie Green, another freshman that has certainly produced for this Hokie squad this year. The appeal did not go. And still, that pitch has been trouble for the Hokies so far.
That off speed by Holloway, it's clearly giving the Hokies some trouble and making them second guess.
Luco stays at first base. Well, Emma Ritter up against Holloway, who already has 3 strikeouts today. It has been tough to strike out this freshman, though, and you see 2 of the people that are the toughest to strike out in this entire league are in this game today. Abby Sweet being the other.
This is just a great ACC matchup, talking about the offensive side of both of these teams as well as the dominance in the circle.
Notre Dame able to score in the first inning. Abby Sweet looking out in center field. Down the plate, strike 2, and that just floated into the zone.
That's one of those pitches that, even though she did put that ball right into the strike zone, it just fools you with changing speed so drastically.
So now Holloway has fought back to make this a full count. Swing and a miss. So the player that's so tough to strike out, Alexis Holloway, gets it done. Fights back to get her 4th strikeout of the ball game. Notre Dame leads in this one, 1-0. Emma Ritter flailed through it. Holloway's all fired up. If the ACC tournament started today, this is how it would shake out. Virginia Tech, that's a pretty good matchup for the Hokies against an NC State team that they beat down pretty hard in Raleigh, but that would be a tough opening set for Duke and Notre Dame. Fighting Irish played them tough, but Blue Devils were able to take 2 of 3 against the Fighting Irish. Pretty chilly one here in Blacksburg. A slight bit of wind flowing through the ACC flags. Closing in on almost tournament time, almost NCAA regional time. Rochard deals a first pitch strike back to the top of the lineup with Abby Sweet. We saw Sweet drive one all the way to the warning track her last time up. Not only a great leadoff batter, has a ton of pop with 5 homers. Oh, 2. Rochard so far has given up 1 run. It wasn't earned, though. So sacrifice fly from Katie Marino that brought in Emma Clark, who had advanced on a stolen base, and a errant throw from Mackenzie Lauder. Stays 0-2. Deanna Gump said that Abby Sweet, one of those few players that really doesn't have a weakness at the plate. Rochard trying to find that here. No balls and 2 strikes.
Seen a different strategy now out of Rochard, working low in the zone. Led off the at-bat with her off-speed, but now has kept it really below the knees on Sweet.
Yeah, in those games where she had 19 strikeouts, you got to imagine that the rise ball was the primary knockout pitch.
Absolutely, and I'm wondering too if the strategy with our pitching coach Doug Gillis is, if you're going to be throwing 2 or 3 of these 4-game series, do you almost need to morph into kind of a different pitcher between games so that you're not always showing the same thing?
The right center stays in the infield, and Green is there.
Now batting the right fielder, Emma Clark.
So the ACC Softball Championship, all 9 games are going to air on the ACC Network or ESPN2. Very exciting. May 12th through the 15th down in Louisville, Kentucky. It's about time. There's another ACC softball tournament. 732 days between the one in 2019 and the one that's getting ready to happen in 2021. And Clemson participating in it for the first time ever. That's very historic for the Tigers, who themselves are having a historic season.
Yeah, you see there Florida State's dominance over the ACC tournament over the last several years, and total history in the tournament as well. So it's an exciting year that there are multiple teams that can really be a challenge for them to face. Unfortunately, it looks like maybe Duke and Notre Dame, 2 of the better teams in the conference, might face each other early. But it's still exciting to see that the tournament will, not be an automatic win for Florida State.
You saw those 2 flags that were perched together the last time we panned over with Clemson and Duke. 2 of those programs very new and finding success here in 2021. Emma Clark down in the count, 2-1. Up in the count, I should say. Still finds a strike there from Keely Rochard. Clark singled her last time into left field. Batters count. Very important series for Notre Dame, trying to build on that RPI that we had flashed earlier. There's 32. Hokies coming into this game a higher RPI of 15 and currently ranked number 13 in the country. Just missed, not by much, ball 4. First walk of the ball game for Keely Rochard. So take a look around here in the New River Valley, 54 degrees. A little bit of wind flowing around in here.
It's actually only the 6th walk for Emma Clark on the season. Definitely top part of the lineup, not getting a lot of walks because of their aggressiveness swinging the bat.
Also going to be aggressive running the base pass. Emma Clark took a big jump off there. Get back to the bag, though. Katie Marino drove in a run her last time up.
You do see Virginia Tech's middle infielders pinched in a little bit towards second base, leaving a little bit of gap between first and second and short and third there, but want to be able to protect the stolen base.
Nasty pitch for Keely Rochard. In the middle of the infield, open to cover second. Also, in the event of a double play, trying to turn one to get out of here in the top of the 3rd inning. Looks at it low. Lauder checking on Clark over there again with a quick glance.
And that defensive setup does leave you open a little bit with those holes in the infield, but in the same breath, the freshmen with Addie Green and Cam Fagan do have a lot of range and quickness in those positions to cover those gaps.
Clark taking off. Trouble down the line. And Brown, great effort to find that one on the left field line. 2 away.
Now batting the designated player, Karina
Kelsey
Gaskin.
Brown making another catch. That is the 4th fly ball she has already caught in this ball game.
Yeah, even that ball there, I mean, you see Cam Fagan hustling all the way over from her pulled in position at second base. And that's when you really appreciate the speed of Kelsey Brown in left field, how much she can cover.
Karina Gaskin's 0 for 1 with a strikeout swinging. Runner goes. Tag. Got her. Great throw by Mackenzie Lauder, and Emma Clark sniped at second base.
Well,
Gaskin's left at the plate with the bat in her hand.
To do that on a changeup too, this just works out perfectly. That's the pitch you want to try to be stealing on, but that's a strong arm by Mackenzie Lauder behind the plate.
1-0 Notre Dame off of the throw from Lauder. For the third here in Blacksburg, Notre Dame enjoying a 1-0 lead off of the first inning run scored on a sacrifice fly from Marino to bring home Clark. But now, the bottom of the third, the 9-1-2 due up for Virginia Tech off of Holloway, who's done a great job so far against Virginia Tech, has only allowed 1 hit in the ball game. And Troll reaches on the first pitch. Center fielder from Fort Mill, South Carolina, one of those players inherited by Pete DeMore from the previous staff when he came here in 2019. And Troll saw a lot of improvement in her batting average. Up the middle, Holloway right there.
You notice when Troll stepped into the batter's box, her heels are on the back side, I guess I should say, of the batter's box, you know, really having to reach for that outside pitch. It's an interesting setup there.
Looks like Kelsey Brown starting pretty far back as well, but likely to go along with her strategy of slapping the ball on. Got it again here from Troll.
Yeah, so you see her stepping into that pitch there to be able to reach out for that outside pitch. Normally, if you're going to be in that part of the batter's box, you know, you're expecting some inside pitches and you want to allow some room for your hands to get through the ball. But Holloway has been on the outside part of the plate against Troll we saw, and then now also against Brown. So I'm struggling to piece together the strategy there for the Hokies.
Well, Brown trying to find her way on for the first time today, 0 for 1. Great pitch from Holloway. Defending this 1-0 lead, already 4 Ks in the books for Holloway. Laid down. Foul ball. Well, Grimm was certainly patient with that, as was Cassidy Grimm at third. Shelby Grimm, the catcher, waited for that ball to roll just off of the chalk. So Brown's got to come back and try to do it again here. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's the right play here for Kelsey Brown to drop down this bunt. You know that she's going to be safe if that ball is fair, so that's the right play to just make sure it goes foul and hurry up and pick it up before it rolls back into fair.
Almost got her on the 2-2, but almost the key word. Brown certainly thought about it. She's well out of the batter's box in a scenario like that.
And she does need to watch that where she's making contact with the ball. She's been called on that a couple times last weekend against Georgia Tech.
Payoff. And the second ground out almost as Brown legs out an infield single.
You can't ask for much more defensively from Alexis Holloway there. I mean, she's making that throw as quickly as she can.
Yeah, Deanna Gumpf is not excited about this call. We'll get a better look at it here. Looks like she's close right there. This will be the look to tell. Oof.
Well, you might be able to see that right into the mitt there.
I think that maybe the call on the field might have been a bit wrong, but unfortunately for Notre Dame, they cannot review this at this point in Division I softball. No camera review.
Yeah, with no review there, I don't see how you would be able to overturn that, even if first base umpire is open to asking for some help from the rest of his crew. I think with our regular eyes, that looked like a tie. Tie goes to the runner, right? But when we see the replay, that's where we can see just that millisecond difference.
So the Hokies given a gift, and Fagan squared around to bunt, pulled back. Fagan 1 for 1 with a single. First game back, freshman from Florida. Father Kevin's the head coach of Emmanuel College softball, Division II school down in Georgia. Purcell gets the lead runner out. Deanna Gumpf has had a lot of confidence in Purcell's ability to play in the middle of the infield and made a great heads-up play to toss it over to Marino for the second out.
That is definitely a heads-up play. Not something you normally see, knowing to have the speed of Kelsey Brown on first base. Most teams would just go for somewhat of the more sure out at first base. Still not a guaranteed with Cam Fagan's speed, but that's a huge play there to take that runner off of second, out of scoring position. Even with 2 outs, we know that the Hokies could drop in a double, especially with Kana Davis at the plate.
Davis, meanwhile, on to second, Fagan. And she is in scoring position off of the wild pitch.
It seems like that heads-up play by Purcell actually doesn't make a difference at this point now with Cam Fagan in scoring position.
They do call this a strike, and it does look like Kana Davis went around. Floats in. Well, Davis was victimized by that exact pitch in her last at-bat.
Coming off of the weekend that she's had, and knowing the scouting report against Holloway and the rest of the pitching staff for Notre Dame, you would expect a lot of off-speed pitches to Davis this weekend.
Well, Davis was very close to hitting her. Not called at the plate. Oh, look. Almost. Three and one. First time the Hokies have had a runner in scoring position in this ball game here in the bottom of the third. Fagan advancing on the wild pitch. Oh, a 3-1 count. Takes a cut at the 3-1, full count.
She seemed to have much better timing against that off-speed pitch this time, so great adjustment by Davis.
So this is a big pitch coming up here. Fagan at second, a full count to Kana Davis. First time that the Hokies, like we said, have had a runner at second in this ball game. Laser focused, Alexis Holloway. Ball 4. Had to look at that a little bit longer for Kana Davis, but tosses the bat away triumphantly with the base on balls.
It's a great spot to throw in by Holloway, and you see that drop ball just take a slight dip down out of the strike zone.
And a good job by Shelby Grimm. That was just a bit low out of the zone. Grimm made it a little bit more convincing. But now here is Jamie Bailey. Went down looking her last time up. Actually hit her bat twice. Bailey, those 6 home runs on the year, 36 RBIs. Another young bat in the lineup. And a pinch runner coming in for Virginia Tech. Rebecca Ludwig coming in.
Number 27, Rebecca Ludwig.
So now Fagan at second, Ludwig at first. Go ahead run at first base for Jamie Bailey. Just misses inside. Approaching 50 pitches now for Alexis Holloway. Off speed. You can see every time that ball floats in on the off speed, the Hokies are thinking about pulling that down the left field line, but Bailey laid off. He evens the count up with a big cut and a miss. So now once again, a huge pitch incoming. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Did she go? Yes. Throw to first. And what a time for the 5th strikeout of the ball game for Alexis Holloway. We've played 3 in Blacksburg. Notre Dame leads in this one, 1-0.
No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 2 runners left on.
NCAA softball scape. How about this, Shelby? Georgia ending that long winning streak for Oklahoma, a 7-6 victory, and things happening pretty well for Northwestern as well. And Wichita State, Shelby, ranked for the first time in program history.
It's a great breakthrough. You love to see that for programs.
And Sydney Backstrom throwing a perfect game, 9 strikeouts against Presbyterian. Congrats to Backstrom from Longwood, a team that Virginia Tech played against in a doubleheader here at Tech Softball Park earlier on this season. Oh, this one locked into a great pitcher's duel so far. Keely Rochard and her team down 1-0 up against Notre Dame. The 4-5-6 due up for the Fighting Irish here in Gaskins, Hanks, and Gens. Rochard with 3 strikeouts so far. Alexis Holloway, her counterpart in this ball game for Notre Dame, with 5. Gaskins being one of those 3. Last time we saw Notre Dame, we saw a great throw by Mackenzie Lauder to get Emma Clark off of the base paths on a throw down to second, and that just feels like a huge play in this ball game.
I think that's what it's going to come down to, just a few simple plays that are going to make the difference, maybe in each game of this series, but particularly this first game. We saw an error there by Lauder in the first inning, move the runner into scoring position, score on the sac fly for Notre Dame. Those small moments, I think, are going to be a make or break for these teams.
And that was the exact same runner as well. I mean, Emma Clark was able to steal
Right.
second and advance to third on that exact play we're talking about, and she came in to score the lone run of this ball game so far.
It's one of those games you really require perfect performance.
It is a bit odd to see with Rochard not fanning tens of hundreds of people in a game, seemingly, as she always does, especially with that rise ball that has really victimized so many batters in the ACC this year, but having to adjust against a Notre Dame team that is a little bit more well-adjusted themselves at the plate.
Yeah, no doubt she's one of the best pitchers in the ACC as well as the country, but then for her to go up against really some more complete teams, like you're saying, Bailey, I think really shows what kind of pitcher she is.
As we said that, when again, with the rise ball,
It just jumps up. I mean, it impresses me every time that she gets a strikeout on that pitch. It is so difficult to hold up on. I know when I played, that was definitely the most difficult pitch for me to hit. So I understand what those hitters are seeing in the box.
Hanks pulls around for a bunt. Instead, it's called a strike. Flew out to left field. It's exactly what Pete Demore said when you were going with earlier. It has to be almost a perfect game, especially defensively, because you're seeing the one run in this game has been able to score unearned. Off of Rochard, Bennett on to first with the out. We have to see if Rochard's okay here because that ball had a lot of heat on it. Right back to the Hokies pitcher.
Right there on lower part of her leg, kind of her shin.
Oof.
I'm sure she feels somewhat okay about it, knowing that her teammate Kelsey Bennett picked up the out, but right there on her knee, actually.
I think that if you're a Hokies player and if you're a Hokies fan at this point, you just kind of hold your breath, and now it seems to be okay.
She's an extremely tough player, mentally and physically, and so she's going to take a couple practice pitches here just to make sure everything's working all right.
Yeah, pretty cool to see a 1-5-3, but I think that Rochard would have just likely had a regular 5-3.
Right.
Well, Pete Demore letting Keely Rochard figure this out.
You don't see a lot of pitches actually off of Rochard back up the middle. Even on the ground, you know, maybe out to the outfield, but definitely not, you know, hard ground balls like that up the middle. She's normally working around the zone a little bit better.
Sarah Gens got on with a single her last time. She's 1 for 1. Watches the pitch fall inside. The senior from Lakeville, Minnesota. Hasn't had a ton of at-bats this year. Actually homeschooled, but was able to play at Lakeville North High School. I like the Tim Tebow situation in that regard. Able to get homeschooled, but play in the same district, some high school varsity sports. One ball, one strike with nobody on. Great pitch by Rochard. Now a strike away from dealing the first 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Staying alive at 1-2. Lone difference in this ball game, the run that scored back in the first inning off the sacrifice fly to left field. Another 1-2 coming from Rochard. Gens goes down swinging, 5th strikeout for Keely Rochard, and a 1-2-3, top of the 4th inning. Hokies coming up to bat down 1-0 here on the ACC Network. We got a tight ball game nestled into Tech Softball Park right outside of Lane Stadium. Hokies down 1-0 to Notre Dame as we head on to the bottom of the 4th. Well, Virginia Tech, they have not lost a conference series this year, but you look at their strength of schedule ranks, it's a bit shocking to see that they're only at 38.
I think that might have something to do with just COVID affecting a little bit of the preseason tournaments that teams are normally able to have and do a lot of traveling. You know, maybe out west to see some of that competition, maybe a little south, you know, not having as much opportunity in the preseason to build up that strength of schedule.
It is worth noting, though, that every team in the ACC that was ahead of them on that strength of schedule graphic, Virginia Tech has beaten. There's Kelsey Bennett. Bennett 0 for 1, reached on an error by Emma Clark. Alexis Holloway still in the circle up against potentially the Hokies' best power hitter. And I think that We were talking in between innings. Kelsey Bennett made a great play in the infield on that ball that was sharply hit off of the shin or maybe the upper knee of Keely Rochard and scored as a 1-5-3. Bennett saved a base runner. And playing back in her normal position at third. Quickly up in the count here, 3 balls and no strikes.
Seeing Holloway use that drop ball as well as her changeup a little bit more than going up in the zone, which I think is a great strategy against power hitters that Virginia Tech has. Keep it low in the zone, something playable if they are going to put it in play.
Puts it back into the zone there. Holloway, the senior member of the pitching staff, joined with Peyton Tidd and Morgan Ryan. The start here in game 1 has looked solid so far. Popped up. Sweet. Calls for it and gets the out.
I think the adjustment for Virginia Tech is going to be having to figure out how to hit that off-speed pitch. They've laid off of it now. But Holloway has shown that she can throw it for a strike as well if they're not going to be swinging at it. So need to figure out their timing a little bit to get a better bat on the ball.
That's the second time that Bennett has been popped up. The first time, obviously, was dropped, but the second time snagged by Sweet in center field. Here's Addie Green, one of the 5 strikeouts today for Holloway. Good character foil of pitchers here. Keely Rochard with 5 strikeouts of her own. Holloway has 5 through now 3 1/3. Strategy has been seemingly work low in the zone. Hokies only have 2 hits in the ball game so far. Off speed. That is just nasty.
You see that pitch again, it really freezes up hitters. That's going to need to be an adjustment. You've got to be able to definitely foul that off when you have 2 strikes or be able to put something really positively in play, but she throws it so often, I think that could be an adjustment to go after that earlier in the counts.
That's a take on 3-0, and the Hokies have the tying run aboard.
Now batting number 18, the catcher Mackenzie Lauder.
Second walk of the day for Holloway. And Mackenzie Lauder, who flew out deep to right field, returns to the plate. Only saw 1 pitch from Holloway back in the second inning. Catcher from South Boston, Virginia. The off-speed goes in for a strike. South Boston right on the end of the Virginia border, right near North Carolina. And the home of former NASCAR driver, I'm not even sure if he races anymore, Jeff Burton. Household name, obviously. All on a strike. They used to have him painted on the walls at Texas roadhouses throughout Virginia, so that's why everybody knows that, of course.
All Virginians,
yeah,
at least.
Virginians at least. Got the rolls out on the table. There's Jeff Burton on the walls.
It's a great night out.
It's a great night out. On to second. Sweeping tag, she's out. What a throw by Shelby Grimm. And Green was out by a couple of steps.
You see Addie Green trying to go for the slide by there. We'll see it here. So she's starting her slide pretty late to try to slide by the tag. Most of the time Virginia Tech's runners are sliding in just hard straight on. I think the slide by there actually allowed a little bit more time for Purcell to lay down the tag.
So Shelby Grimm, the flex player. Alexis Holloway, the pitcher, able to bat today. So Shelby Grimm, the only one not in the batting lineup, making a big play defensively. It's already the second walk in the inning, second one in a row.
Now batting number 9.
Holloway's drop ball seems to be just a little too low in the zone. It's it's still a great pitch to swing at, you know, but the Hokie hitters are holding off of it. She might need to bring it up a little bit in the zone to be able to be called for a strike.
So Emma Ritter, she struck out her last time up. We had already noted that she's a player that doesn't strike out a ton. Only a strikeout in just about 18 at-bats. Unfortunately, for Hokies fans, went down to 0 for 1 to end the second inning. Well, Holloway struggling to find the zone here. So this is game 1 of the doubleheader. We're going to have game 2 just about 30 minutes after game 1. This has already prompted a conference here in the bottom of the 4th. Just now joining us, Hokies only with 2 hits on the day. Notre Dame with 3. They scored an unearned run back in the first inning off of some aggressive base running. Emma Clark got on with a single, stole second, and the errant throw to second allowed her to go over to third, setting the table easily for Haiti Marino to blast her in on a sacrifice fly. Hokies have only had a runner in scoring position, which was Cameron Fagan, once. Still an early ball game, though. Here we are, bottom of the 4th. 3-0. Now Holloway is in danger of walking her 3rd straight batter. Speed floated right in. A solid take by Ritter. Good job by Holloway to fight back into the zone. Ball 4, 3rd walk of the inning, 3rd walk in a row.
Now batting,
Holloway's going to need to make an adjustment on her drop ball.
Now you think for Virginia Tech, the decision to send Addie Green from 1st to 2nd on the steal ends up being a painful one, because if that is not taken, there are bases loaded with just 1 out.
I do think they were gifted with these 2 walks, because I had the same thought, stealing her into 2nd. Maybe not a great play with that being, not having a whole lot of base runners in this game, but Virginia Tech definitely given a little bit of a gift with these last 2 walks.
So here's Meredith Slaw, pinch hitter in the place of Darby Troll. Slaw just hitting 190 on the year. A couple of very good boys and girls watching this one out in left field. Notre Dame leading 1-0 as we move on to the top of the 5th. Here in Blacksburg, Hokies had their best chance there off of 3 consecutive walks from Alexis Holloway, who has now dealt 4, but this is a pretty good showing between 2 talented pitchers in the ACC.
Both pitchers probably having to deal out quite a few more pitches than they're normally used to. We'll see how long they'll be able to last 3 more innings here.
Keely Rochard, we've seen go back to the rise ball a few times to get those 5 strikeouts, and Alexis Holloway, who steps up to the plate, has dealt a nasty off-speed pitch. 1-0. 7th batter in the lineup, top of the 5th inning. A showdown here in Blacksburg so far. That 1 run scoring all the way back in the 1st inning. Holloway went down swinging. A couple of Notre Dame pitchers that done a great job in the circle this year have also produced at the plate, Alexis Holloway being one of them, but when we see Peyton Titch, he's also going to have the bat in her hands as well. I think that's a little bit more of an old school approach in the pitcher's bat.
Definitely is. I'm sure there's some advantages so that Holloway can actually see from the batter's box the strike zone from the home plate umpire, but at the same time, to not have that half inning to relax and recover and, you know, strategize with your catcher and your pitching coach, that can be a lot to handle in a game.
And the left, base hit. First hit for Notre Dame since the second inning.
I'm sure it does make the pitchers, though, a little bit more, I guess, relatable, or they can relate to their hitters a little bit more. It's just out of the reach there by Cam Fagan.
Now Chelsea Purcell trying to tack on to this 1-0 lead. It's also the first time that Notre Dame has had the leadoff batter on. Popped up. Lauder. One away. That's a gift there to Keely Rochard and Virginia Tech, because the last time we saw Chelsea Purcell, she batted a ball right off the left field wall for a double. And one pitch and gets the out. Now potentially a change here. Cassidy Grimm was supposed to bat. And it's going to be Quinn Biggio coming in as the pinch hitter, and potentially we're going to see her play at third base. So remember, Deanna Gump had talked about the fact that she really revolves the left side of the infield a lot, between Marquez at short, Grimm at third, and Biggio at third. Well, Deanna Gump making a change here in the top of the fifth inning. Cassidy Grimm struck out swinging her only time up. Now we'll see Quinn Biggio, daughter of Hall of Famer Craig Biggio. Certainly has put together a Notre Dame family. It's inside. Biggio comes up to the plate in a big spot. Fights it off. Rochard now at 72 pitches, so Biggio, when she does come in, likely to produce 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, and close to a 300 average. All the way at first base for Notre Dame. Outside corner. So, what a pedigree for Quinn Biggio. Her father, a Hall of Famer for the Houston Astros. Connor Biggio, brother, played at Notre Dame. Kevin Biggio also played at Notre Dame, and now he is playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, with a very young, exciting team they have in Toronto. I shouldn't say in Toronto. They have not been allowed to play in Canada since the coronavirus pandemic. Got a good nucleus around a few young players with some famous dads. Cavan with Craig, Bo Bichette's dad, Dante Bichette, and of course Vladimir Guerrero Jr. On the ground to third, on to second, and dropped. Well, Pete Demore talked about having to play a tough defensive game. You can't have drops like that if you want to beat Notre Dame.
It's going to be plays like that that will make the difference in this game. Easily fielded by Kelsey Bennett at third. Perfect throw over the bag for Addie Green. Just takes her eye off of it for a split second.
Now, Hokies in that situation, we're thinking 2 outs potentially. Obviously a little bit harder in softball to turn a double play like that when the bases are only 60 feet apart, but we're going to have a good chance there if Green holds on and turns it over to first base.
Even if they get that lead out, you have 2 outs with a runner at first instead of 1 out and a runner in scoring position. It makes a big difference. It's all going to come down to those small plays.
So Cassidy Grimm has re-entered as a pinch runner. Back to the top of the lineup with Abby Sweet, who's due for something here. First pitch strike. She's 0 for 2. He had already highlighted that she is arguably the best hitter in the ACC.
And again, that error coming at really the worst time, and have your best hitter up at the plate with just 1 out.
Sweet has hit the ball in the air twice, once deep to left and another time popping up to green at second base. Also a big test for Mackenzie Lauder behind home plate here with Holloway in scoring position and Cassidy Grimm. Both of them taking pretty hefty jumps off of the base paths. Swing and a miss. Good pitch there by Keely Rochard. Well, Sweet, look how she ranks in all of Division I. First in the conference in nearly everything except for slugging percentage, and she's second in that. But look how deep this country is in softball, because if she's first in the ACC in batting average at .477 and 12th in the entire country, that is insane.
That's what makes postseason softball so exciting to see teams across the country coming together with their best players.
Down the line, foul ball. Brown once again runs out of room. So a ball and 2 strikes. Abby Sweet, the reputation of not striking out.
This is going to be a really important at-bat. And really, I think maybe swing the energy one way or the other.
As potentially a 3-0 lead in this ball game feels like it might as well be 11-0. Holloway has been so tough on Virginia Tech. One-two to Sweet. Into left, base hit. Brown up to throw. Holloway will score. 2-0 Notre Dame. So you're already seeing again, right after the error, a huge play because Holloway would have been out at second base, instead comes in to score in the ensuing at-bat.
Abby Sweet doing what she does best, finding a place out in the field. And you talked, Bailey, about the base runners getting big leadoffs. That's a big difference, too. If they're taking just one less step in that leadoff, then Holloway is not scoring from second. And without that big jump right off of the pitch, that's what makes the difference in scoring runs in these really tight games.
Notre Dame, a program that has played the Hokies so well. 25-7 all time. Trying to get a good start against Virginia Tech's ace today. Emma Clark doesn't get any easier here. She is 1 for 1. And actually a pinch hitter, Macy Eck, playing in the place of Emma Clark. So interesting development there. Emma Clark, who had already gotten a single, was thrown out at second base her last time. Placed in the lineup with Eck. So Eck hitting south of 150. Big chance here to try to break this open. Solid effort by Rochard. From Williamsburg, Virginia, only down 2-0. Got her looking. So Eck, the pinch hitter, watches one right down the pipe, and now there are 2 outs.
Rocharder's done a great job for her team so far through this game. It's those little defensive miscues that are making the difference right now, which is exactly what Coach DeMoore said, that the defense would have more pressure than the Hokies are used to, and that's what's going to show how they do against Notre Dame.
And we saw in the first inning, Emma Clark scored after advancing to third on an error. Holloway safe at second after the error. Both of them scored the next at-bat.
Well, and hats off to Notre Dame for taking advantage of that, following up that error with some hits.
Marino pops it up. Bailey's there. And that is it for the top of the fifth. But Notre Dame extends its lead. It's 2-0 Fighting Irish on to the bottom of the fifth inning. Well, it's 2-0 Notre Dame. Let's see what's brought us to this point. First run came in on a fly out to left field. The sacrifice brought in Emma Clark. That made it 1-0. That was following an error. Once again following an error, an RBI single for Abby Sweet made it 2-0. And the Fighting Irish are enjoying that 2-0 lead as we move on to the bottom of the fifth. Alexis Holloway has been living on the outside, Shelby.
Yeah, that low outside pitch, getting Hokies to swing away at that. She can also bring it up a little bit, but still living on that outside corner.
Well, on the other side, Keely Rose Shard working it a little bit more on the inside part of the plate.
Right, you see her bring in this screwball just inside, off the plate actually, but she still relies on that rise ball for the couple strikeouts she's had.
So now the Hokies down 2-0. Take a look here, only 5 hits for Notre Dame, but both of those runs, importantly, coming in off of errors. Alexis Holloway, 4 innings pitched, has only given up 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, and the best chance for Virginia Tech was there in the bottom of the 4th inning. Holloway walked 3 in a row, yet did not give up a run. Now starts up against the top of the lineup in Kelsey Brown.
So you see the difference there of Notre Dame's hitters taking advantage of the defensive errors by Virginia Tech. On the flip side, Virginia Tech hitters last inning not taking advantage of the pitching error, I guess I should say, by Holloway with those walks. It's going to come down to that. When the other team makes a little bit of a miscue, then how are you taking advantage of it?
Huntley down by Brown. Quick throw by Grimm. Out. What a play by Cassidy Grimm over on the hot corner at third, and a snow cone scoop by Gens at first base.
Another close play on Kelsey Brown here.
Almost came out. If you remember, Brown was safe on a ball she hit right back up the middle. And it was questionable this time. I believe they got the right call, but Gens, what an effort keeping that ball in the web. Fagan 1 for 2. Also had a stolen base. Pokes it over to Grimm again. Out again. So 2 5-3s etched into the scorebook here.
Now batting, the designated player number
We talked about
11,
Purcell playing
Hannah
a solid shortstop, but Cassidy Grimm has played very well today for Notre Dame, and particularly in this inning already. So now Kana Davis steps up. 80 pitches already for Alexis Holloway. Davis walked back in the third, struck out her first time up. Holloway very strong so far. Came into this with a 10-6 record, 2.62 ERA. Also just scored the second run of the ball game. And Macy Eck playing out in right field. We saw her bat, went down looking. Emma Clark no longer in the game. Davis, good snag by Purcell, and the Hokies retired in order. We will go to the 6th inning. Solid plays made by the infield, and Notre Dame enjoying a 2-0 lead through 5. Irish leading in this one up against the number 13 team in the country. In game 1 of the doubleheader, they have only 1 win on the season so far against ranked opponents. That was against Duke back in late February. They big series loss against Florida State, where the Seminoles really pounded the Fighting Irish in early April down in Tallahassee. Anna Gump was not in attendance, had been exposed to coronavirus at that point, so could not attend that series. And Florida State able to take 4 straight games against Notre Dame. But now, Fighting Irish have looked solid. Gaskins leading off here in the 6th inning. It's 2-0.
And worth mentioning again that Notre Dame did not face Clemson in their regularly scheduled series due to COVID.
Battling with a few positives in the program. It's still pretty interesting to see how well Notre Dame has been able to bounce back. I mean, 22-12, 13-10 overall. Trying to keep everyone healthy. Gaskins certainly has been a part of those successes as a freshman, but so far for her today, 0 for 2 against Rochard, who now is ready to eclipse 90 pitches. 6 strikeouts on the day for Keely Rochard. Both runs coming in unearned against her. Tough errors for Virginia Tech in the 1st and 5th innings. Two balls and 2 strikes. Big open stance for Gaskins. 3rd strikeout of the game for Gaskins. 7 on the ball game for Keely Rochard, and the first out here in the 6th inning.
So you're bringing that really inside pitch yet again. Not on the plate, not in the strike zone, but looks good enough to swing at.
Well, once again, Rochard working high and tight in the zone. Leah Hanks, she was the one that hit the scorcher right back at Rochard. Rebounded off to Bennett. So 1-5-3 out. Remember, that was back in the 4th inning. Rochard seemed a bit phased, and obviously you would be when you have a softball hit off of your shin like that. And came right back. The next batter struck her out in Sarah Gens. Strike 2. Sophomore trying to get on base for the first time today. Goes down looking.
That same pitch that Rochard has been throwing. We just get a different look at it with the left-handed batter. But still living right there on the corner of the plate.
So 8 strikeouts for Keely Rochard. Sarah Gens, 1 for 2. First pitch to the first baseman in the air to center. Control there, and the Fighting Irish retired in order. 5.5 through in Blacksburg. Notre Dame still up 2-0 with the Hokies coming to bat. Deanna Gump likes to change up the left side of the infield a lot. This side of that change has certainly played very well for Notre Dame. Cassidy Grimm in that 5th inning, throwing out 2 straight batters on rollers down the 3rd base line, and then to cap it off, this hot shot right up to short. Chelsea Purcell throws out Kana Davis, and the Hokies were retired in order in the bottom of the 5th inning. It is 2-0 Notre Dame. Cassidy Grimm and Purcell staying in the ball game over on the left side of the infield, although Deanna Gump did note that going to see a different 3rd baseman and a different shortstop in just about every other game of the series. But they're playing pretty solid so far in this one. First pitch to Jamie Bailey from Holloway. Speaking of solid players, Alexis Holloway yet to give up a run. And Bailey has been struck out twice by the senior. Quickly down 0-2.
Looked like Bailey thought about that for a second, but wasn't able to pull the trigger on it.
quickly down 0-2 for the Virginia Tech first baseman. That's foul. Not by much. Kicked up some chalk. Jamie Bailey, normally a very solid hitter for Virginia Tech. 4 sack flies on the year, total bases, 10th in the conference, RBIs per game. He's not really had big opportunities to do so, except for back in the third, 2 runners were on with 2 outs. Bailey went down swinging. Cassidy Grimm, another good play.
You see Bailey there maybe a little desperate to get the ball in play, following up the 2 strikeouts she's had so far this game. And not a great swing on this ball, not a great pitch to swing at to begin with. Very low to the ground, which has been exactly what Holloway's doing all game with that drop ball, keeping it very low.
And as we said earlier, a 2-0 lead with how Alexis Holloway has pitched today feels enormous. Bennett down 0-1 already. She is 0 for 2. Has popped up twice. One of those times was dropped by Emma Clark out in right field, and that's maybe why you see Macy Eck out in right for Notre Dame.
It's an interesting sub, though, with Clark being one of Notre Dame's top hitters. So I have some questions on if Clark is fully healthy. Is there something else going on, or just trying to mix up the defense and the lineup a little bit?
Emma Clark has scored one of the 2 runs today. Eck came in, went down looking. Popped up again. A little bit of drift for Sweet. Makes the grab.
You see the power behind Bennett's bat there. I mean, she's just under the ball. She gets a little bit more center of the ball, and that's over the fence.
Well, Holloway had walked 3 in a row back in the 4th inning. Since then, she has retired 6 in a row. Now a pinch hitter for Virginia Tech. Morgan Overitis, seen play some second base for the Hokies this year. Now playing in the place of Addie Green. Had a tough game, went 0 for 1 with a walk and was thrown out at second base.
Number 24, Morgan Overitis.
Green also had that error that preempted Holloway scoring the 2nd run. Starts off 1-0. Seen a pinch hitter a couple of times for the Hokies today. We saw Meredith Slaw there at the end of the 4th inning with a couple of runners on and took a cut at the first pitch right after Notre Dame's Alexis Holloway had walked 3 straight batters. Slaw flew out to center field. Yeah! 1-1. Time starting to run low for the Hokies here in game 1. Got a piece of it. So now Holloway, a strike away from retiring the Hokies 1-2-3 for the 2nd straight inning. Two and two. Hokies really desperate for something to happen here after being retired now 6 in a row. Overitis waited on the off speed and got a piece of it on a defensive swing.
We're starting to really feel like the Hokies not taking advantage of those walks is starting to play a really big role here in their lack of run production.
High chopper. Holloway makes the play, and the Hokies have sent 7 straight to the plate retired. On to the 7th and final inning in Game 1. Notre Dame leads 2-0 over the 13th-ranked Hokies. The Hokies have committed 2 errors in this game, and both of them have proven costly. This one in the first inning on a throw from Lauder down to second. Emma Clark advanced to third and scored on the next play. On this one, a grounder to third. Bennett went to second, trying to potentially turn 5-4-3 there. Instead, Holloway slid into second safe, and the next at-bat she came in to score. 2-0, both of those runs coming in unearned. Overitis coming in for Addie Green, who had a tough game in the field and at the plate. Keely Rochard trying to keep this at a 2-0 ball game. We are in the 7th. Alexis Holloway leading it off for Notre Dame. Over to third. 1 out.
Good stretch there by Bailey at first base. That ball's a little bit, the throw a little bit off, kind of up the first base line. She was able to hang on to it.
So Purcell and Grimm due up. The last time Grimm was taken out as a pinch hitter for Biggio, then came back in to re-enter into third. Chelsea Purcell popped up to the catcher last time. Also has a double today. 13th ranked Virginia Tech Hokies up against Notre Dame. Battle to try to improve the RPI for Notre Dame. They now have a 32 RPI. Balls and 2 strikes. Fighting Irish also trying to improve to 26-7 all time against Virginia Tech. 2 teams that have played each other in the past decade in the ACC. Also some times in the Big East back in the early 2000s. This could be a really big win to try to spark something in the series for Notre Dame. Trying to build that resume to go to the NCAA tournament again. Deanna Gumpf has never missed it. Purcell up the middle, along with her second base hit of the ball game.
It's a great base hit by Purcell. This ball is just slightly off of the plate. She was able to reach out there, get a bat on it, push it up the middle. Definitely was not a pitch directly on the plate. That's some good hitting.
She's the only batter today with a multi-hit game on both teams. Now Rochard has hit the century mark, 100 pitches. Rim shows bunt, it's called a strike. Gotta think Shelby, she might square up again.
Yeah, she might. I think that's also just to kind of see how the defense is going to shift if she does bunt. Kind of get them on their toes, maybe create some chaos on a steal.
And hit her. Does she pull back? Now, Grimm is going to come back to home plate.
So you see her square for the bunt here. It hits her right there on the hand on her bat, but I'm not sure if she pulled it back.
Well, it definitely hit her hand.
It did? Yeah.
There's no real question as to whether it hit her or not, but was she pulling back when it happened? And I think that this might be a scenario. She's going to stay at the plate here. The home plate umpire was telling her to come right back or look at it. This obviously is a big play in the game as well. Puts 2 runners on if she's hit by a pitch.
I'm not sure she pulled back on that. You know, once it did hit her hand, you know, she kind of has a reaction there. And tough for the other umpires to help out on that call with a runner on first.
Swings and misses. So that's a huge play potentially. 9th strikeout for Keely Rochard. And back to the top of the lineup with Abby Sweet.
Number 26, Abby Sweet.
So Cassidy Grimm thought she was going to get on with a hit by pitch there, and instead goes down swinging. Sweet drove in a run, back in the 5th. Now 1 for 3. With a good check down. So a 2-0 lead. Hokies will send the 7-8-9 into the bottom of the 7th. Try to come back in this one. Will it stay 2-0 though? Abby Sweet at the plate. Into left field, base hit. Purcell races around second, and she's into third. So Abby Sweet with a double. Now here comes a huge at-bat for Notre Dame.
Now batting the right fielder, number 12, Basie F.
To push forward possibly a 4-0 lead with a next base hit here, but Abby Sweet ripping it down the left field line.
She's able to get her bat down in the zone on this drop ball. Put some power behind it out to left field. You see again, though, the difference in that call of hitting her hand, excuse me.
Right.
Makes a big difference there. You know, if she's able to have another attempt there, or she's able to take first, excuse me, then there's definitely a run scored on that last hit by Abby Sweet.
Yeah, Purcell is getting home on that double if Cassidy Grimm is called a hit by pitch there. This is Macy Eck. 0 for 1 today, went down looking. To break this game open. It certainly seemed like a premium insurance plan should they score these next 2 runs. Going into the 7th inning. Didn't miss by much. Eck playing in the place of Emma Clark. Purcell and Sweet waiting at 3rd and 2nd. Popped up. Exits the field of play. Big at-bat in this pitcher's duel. Rochard has yet to give up an earned run today. Base hit here certainly would make these next 2 earned. Potentially on a convincing enough knock for Eck. Full count. 110 pitches for Keely Rochard. Huge face-off here on a full count. 2 runners in scoring position for the Fighting Irish. Eck waves through it. 10 strikeouts for Keely Rochard and 2 runners left in scoring position. Final chance for the Hokies when we come back here in Game 1 of the doubleheader with a 7-8-9 due up. Final chance for Virginia Tech down 2-0 here in the bottom of the 7th up against Alexis Holloway trying to close out this clean shutout. Game 1 of the doubleheader, Game 1 of this 4-game set, an important one in the ACC landscape. Hokies number 3 in the conference and Notre Dame number 5. It's been a fun one to call so far. So now, Kenzie Lauder, 0 for 1 with a walk. And the ball deep to right field back in the second inning. Bloop and a blast ties the ball game. We just have not seen many bloops, and we certainly have not seen a blast today from Virginia Tech. Just 2 hits.
Holloway working lower in the zone as well as off of the plate. I'm not sure we're going to see anything with a whole lot of contact on it. She's been doing a great job so far this game.
Nearing 100 pitches. Really the only blip was those 3 walks back in the 4th inning. She did those in a row, yet did not give up a run. Since then has retired 7 in a row. 3 balls, no strikes. Hokies trying to put the rally caps on here. Lauder awaits the 3-0. Called a strike.
Lauder's definitely expecting a ball on that pitch. Already taken a couple steps towards first.
Look at this one.
Right on the outside corner. I mean, that's exactly where Holloway's been living the whole game. That low and outside corner.
Well, that's definitely a strike. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So Holloway has fought back from down 3-0. Full count to Lauder. Sigh and a payoff. Up the middle, base hit. Almost another solid play made by Purcell, but it was hit too hot from Lauder. And that's only the 2nd time in the game where the Hokies have their leadoff batter on.
That's awesome hustle by Purcell just off of her glove there. Mackenzie Lauder finally swinging at that same outside pitch. Able to get some good contact on it.
Pinch hitter for the Hokies is going to be Alexa Milius. Sophomore for Virginia Tech. We'll likely see her throughout the series, potentially as a catcher for the Hokies. The sophomore from Connecticut comes up in a big spot here up against Holloway. That's only the 3rd hit given up by Alexis Holloway. Transfer from Central Connecticut State looks at it low. Possibly seeing the wear and tear just a little bit on Holloway through 103 pitches. Rochard had to throw well north of that as well. Battle of 2 great starters. 2-0. Anna Gumpf looking on. The team has played an intensely tight ball game. 3-0. And a little bit of frustration there for Alexis Holloway, who's been laser focused this entire ball game. Lauder on at first. That ended a 7 retired streak for Holloway. Off speed, high and inside, and now the tying run is aboard. Bad time for Holloway's 5th walk. And now Gumpf goes to the circle.
It's a smart time to call a timeout, make sure her pitcher's mind is in the right place. She seems to be talking just directly to Holloway as opposed to her infielders here. But this is an opportunity for Virginia Tech to finally take advantage on stringing together a hit and, you know, take advantage of an error on Holloway with that walk.
Yeah, 5th walk for Holloway. By the way, Emma Ritter is back on for Virginia Tech. She has re-entered in the place of Milius, who got the walk. Now the Hokies. Lauder at second, Ritter at first. Virginia Tech fans, even though this is game 1 of 4, certainly the intensity there for the maroon and orange faithful. Darby Troll, 0 for 2. Shows bunt. Holloway has pecked around the zone here in the 7th inning. Showing bunt again. Good job by Holloway to get back into the zone.
See Coach DeMore giving signs in the third base coaching box. It surprises me to see Darby Troll show bunt 2 times there, knowing that you have the top of the lineup and 2 slap hitters coming up right behind them.
Good bunt though. Sacrifice intact. And now both runs in scoring position for Kelsey Brown. Good job by Holloway to field it. And Darby Troll got the job done, Shelby.
Yeah, that's a classic sack bunt right there. Definitely took the sign from Coach DeMore, got it done. But this is the situation that kind of puzzles me. I know that Kelsey Brown and Cam Fagan have some pop in their bats, but traditionally they're normally slap hitting the ball onto the dirt. You would really be looking for something that can get through the infield, line drive out to the outfield to be able to score runs.
Now she's down to the count 0-1. Does have a single today. 1 for 3. Purcell on to first, but a run scores.
This is exactly the placement the ball needs to be in for a slap hitter, to pull the middle infielders into the middle of the infield, making it really, really difficult for Purcell to field this ball to her glove hand side. It would be very difficult for her to turn her hips around to be able to throw the runner out at home. So that ended up working out for the Hokies. Again, same situation here with Cam Fagan up.
Now the Hokies with no room to sacrifice. Fagan needs a base hit to extend the ball game into right center. Sweet is there, and Notre Dame holds on to win. What a game by Alexis Holloway. Sweet making the catch, and game 1 is over. What a showing, Shelby, by Notre Dame in this one.
This is a great performance by both pitchers in the circle. Alexis Holloway taking care of business and her defense backing her up. That was really the difference here between the two teams. A couple errors for Virginia Tech's defense that Notre Dame's hitters were able to capitalize on, put those 2 runs on the board. Trying to string together a couple things for Virginia Tech in the bottom of the 7th, just weren't able to do it to pull off the win today.
Well, good news for the fans at home. We're going to be right back in just about 30 minutes for game 2 of this doubleheader. But the win goes to Alexis Holloway, 11-6, and the loss to Keely Rochard. So for Shelby Miller, I am Bailey Engel saying so long from Blacksburg, where the final score is Notre Dame 2 and Virginia Tech 1. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on the ACC network, download the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, worldwide leader in sports.